the SEDC Webcast, a new educative tool at the Southern Economic Development Council. As we move forward through this webcast, SEDC is excited to publish strategy conversations with economic developers, policymakers, business leaders, and subject matter experts. This is designed as a free membership service to enhance professional capacity to continually accelerate economic development in the American South. And there are no better webcast speakers than SEDC members, who have collectively built our footprint into the world's third largest and the best positioned economy on the planet. Every session will have special guest speakers, and that is certainly true today, as we're thrilled to welcome leaders from the great state of Texas. Today we are joined by Karen Dixon of LCRA, Tom Long of Greater San Antonio Economic Development, Susan Gill of the Lindale Economic Development Corporation, and Carlton Schwab and Amy Swank of the Texas Economic Development Council. Now today our Texas friends will lead a session called Taking Flight, Growing Tomorrow's Community and Organizational Leaders. In just a few minutes, we'll dive into how to structure a leadership program at a statewide level as exemplified by real-world experiences of the Texas Economic Development Council. We'll discuss the importance and advantages of developing future leaders, regardless of age, to serve in state professional economic development organizations and in their communities. We'll talk about the benefits of having a leadership program geared not by age, but by individual interest in learning how to better be of service to the economic development profession at the state and local level. And we'll talk how to structure and administer this program within your own organization or community. So welcome to the Webcast Team Texas, welcome SEDC, and thank you for tuning in.
Thank you for joining us for the Future Leaders Training Program Introduction. This is a program that was developed and designed by the Texas Economic Development Council, which has over 900 members. It's a statewide organization. And like many other organizations, we wanted to figure out the best way to tap into our young, up-and-coming leaders and to start building them up for board membership and board terms. And so this is a program that will help these kids, young kids, middle-aged, older, every age really, build their TEDC resume so that they can become leaders within the state organization. And also it encourages them to be better leaders in their own communities and their own organizations within their cities. And Karen Dixon was the integral part in bringing it all together. And Karen, you want to tell us how you did that?
Thank you, Susan. So I had been on the TEDC board of directors and for several years, and in 2019 I was chair of the Texas Economic Development Council. And at our board meeting, our board retreat that we had at the beginning of the year, we were talking about how to get younger people or newer people in the field to get more involved in TEDC. And at that point in time, we said, you know what, we really need to do something about this. And so I was thinking about it for a while, and I got an idea in my mind of possibly how we could structure this type of program. So I went to Carlton Schwab and Amy Swank with TEDC and said, look, I have an idea how we could do this, how we could structure this. And what I thought was possibly it could be kind of a hybrid of IAMC, their fellow program, if you're familiar with that, Industrial Asset Management Council, and Rotary from the red badge to the blue badge process. And so as I spoke to them about it, we decided it might be a good idea to get together a task force. This task force would put together a curriculum. We came up with the program values, the program objectives, and that's what we did. And so our task force, when I asked people to be on the task force, they were chosen for very specific reasons. I chose someone with an education background. He, I think, was an educator and was very familiar with how to structure curriculum, how to establish that. Also someone who was in the master's class and was a graduate of that program. I also asked a few people that were early in their economic development careers to join us. There is also a gentleman who had selected economic development as a second career. He had already retired from his first career, and economic development was his second career. So that was someone, an older person who starting his career in economic development and wanted his input. I also selected someone that works with younger colleagues in their organization, and also someone who had a seasoned career. So I wanted to be able to get input from all of these people at different stages throughout their career. And so that was our task force that was formed. So the program values that we selected for the program were integrity, accountability, respect, trust, authenticity, impact-oriented, and servant leadership. And all of the speakers and the format and everything that we do has these values in mind. And the program objectives were, first of all, to build future leaders. It's a way for TEDC members to build their TEDC resume to show that they've been active in committees, they've attended board meetings, they've attended conferences, and just to help them build that resume. And so there are things that are required for them to do that in the program. Also, as I was talking about this program to Carlton and Amy, I couldn't find another program at a state economic development professional organization level with a leadership program for their members. And so as far as I know, this is the only one that I'm aware of. And so we would be developing a model for other state economic development organizations to be able to grow their organizational leaders as well. Also, TEDC could provide services to facilitate the development of similar programs in other states. And also a requirement I gave to the task force was this program had to be a revenue stream for the organization. It wasn't something that would be free, but but a nominal expense to be able to be a revenue stream for the program. Also, purpose was to develop a leadership training that is nationally recognized and develop the program to provide national platform from national recognition in best practices for a professional organization. All right. And now Tom Long is going to speak to us about the curriculum development. Tom, take it away.
Thanks, Karen. It's a pleasure to be with everybody today. As Karen said earlier in her slide, if you can't tell by the gray hair, I'm probably the seasoned professional that was on the task force. And I appreciate, even as the old guy, being able to be a part of the task force developing this program. I'll start with this slide and basically start my comments by saying, as we all know, sometimes professional organizations can seem intimidating. If you're new, even if you're my age and new in an organization, it's hard to break in. So the idea is, how do I get involved in an organization in a non-threatening way? How, especially at a committee level. So I think one of the things that the task force really looked at was developing a program that is indeed non-threatening for people of all ages, all experience levels, to get into a true leadership development program. And the task force fortunately ended up developing a program outline. You can see the topics on this slide here. The speakers are developed and gotten by their experience in those topics, but speakers can be different. So we wanted to make sure that we've got the high leadership topics and elective topics here, but didn't want to be prescriptive in the person speaking, in the exact thing they're going to be saying, so that we want the program to have the flexibility to evolve as it grows and goes on. The outlines is designed to provide crew members not only a deeper understanding of TEDC, but also important leadership principles that can be brought back to their own communities and implemented where they work on a daily basis. What's required? Simple. Participants are at all stages in their career, as Karen and Susan both alluded to earlier. They can be early, they can be mid, or they can be seasoned. It doesn't matter. All can participate and all can learn. The requirement is, since it is a TEDC program, and this makes all the sense in the world, the participants must be an active member of TEDC to be eligible to be in the program. The flight program is specifically designed by the task force, like I said, to be a non-threatening way to learn, but also to explore TEDC committees, attend board meetings to see exactly how the organization works, and for them to get involved in each of these committees at a level where they can decide, hey, this is a committee I want to be in, or this is the direction I want to go. I really like this. So hopefully at the end of the sessions, they elect to get involved and become active members of TEDC, active participants in the flight program, and not just passive people that are coming to a conference to basically give a half listen to whoever's speaking and spend the rest of the time on your phone checking emails. So that's why the program's there. It is required for active participation. You do have to register. The seminars do cost a little money because, let's face it, any of us that have worked in EDs, EDOs, or chamber organizations across the country, if something's free, people come to it if they want to, unless they get a better offer. So the commitment is made by the seminars costing at least to cover our costs there. The requirements of the program, again, it's not just, one more slide, Karen. There we go. It's not just a sit back and listen type of involvement. You have to have buy-in from your organization. We want to make sure that your organization is supporting what you're doing and moving into this direction. We need the commitment by each of the people that are going through the flight program, because it is not a one-shot deal. It's active learning in areas that hopefully can pique the interest of each of the participants, both on the required side and on the elective side. And there are things that each participant has to do. Attend the seminars, attend board meetings, visit committees at least one time during the 3-year period that they have to work with this in, decide where they want to become an active member, and get in and do it. And then, as has been said earlier, and we can talk about, you get the pin at the end, which is a coveted pin that very few people get and is actually cool looking, I think. But I'll let Susan cover all that.
Susan, you're on mute.
I think we're going to go to Amy now, and she's going to talk about tracking progress with our participants.
Okay, great, thank you. As it says here on the slide, the participants, once they're enrolled in the program, there is an application, as Tom had mentioned, and the application is mainly for us to check their membership status, but also that their supervisor signs the application as a way so that we know that there's the time commitment is there from their organization to support them through this program. The earliest anyone can finish the program is 2 years, but most take a little bit more, closer to 3, in order to attend the 6 seminars. The seminars are on the front end of each of our 3 TEDC conferences per year. So the earliest you could finish would be 2 years if you did not skip one conference. The participants track their own, but it turns out that I track it a lot as well, because sometimes they forget to do so. But so luckily we have spreadsheets for that, and we have registration records. So we know who has registered. And then we know, of course, at the events, we can take physical attendance in the seminars, as well as the committees. They are to have their committee chair, when they attend a committee, sign the form, but sometimes that doesn't always happen. But we have a way of knowing that they're there, and we track it ourselves. So I keep track of, after each conference, which committees were attended by each individual. And then I periodically will send them, each participant, an update throughout the year of where they are in the process, how many committees, which committees they still need to attend. And another requirement is that they join at least one committee per year. They have to attend each committee at least once throughout the enrollment in the program until they graduate, but they should join at least one. And then, of course, we have records of them joining those committees as well. Again, each participant can ask us at any time where they are in the process. So it's a collaboration of what they track on their own and what we track for them, in order to know where they are and how close they are to graduation.
All right. At this time, Carlton is going to talk to us about the program administration. Take it away, Carlton.
Carlton, you're muted.
Thanks, Karen. We are next slide, please. We're blessed with Amy's prowess on spreadsheets, and to keep up with something like this, she described is more difficult than it might seem, and so that's one of the things I think our organization does really well. Thanks to Amy and Abby and other staff members over the years. And, it's one of those deals kind of by accident that the program ended up living in the membership committee. And it's mainly because you have to be a member to participate. So, TEDC staff works with the membership committee to help figure out seminar speakers and presenters, and again, working with our professionals, that's proved to be very beneficial and very and has helped us be able to provide a variety of different programs over the course of the flight program to date. Next slide, please. Over the life of the program, we've had 49 people that have been enrolled, 13 graduates now, only 3, and that's a very small percentage of a dropout rate, have dropped the program. And currently we have 33 TEDC members who are sort of in progress toward completion. Next slide, please. And this is an example of some of the speakers that we've had. Everything from a past chair like John Osborne of the Lubbock Economic Development Alliance to kind of a tech entrepreneur with Joseph Kopser. Craig Flowers is a leadership expert. And then at their last event, we had a retired Navy SEAL. You might note that the highest attended of the flight program participants was the most recent event associated with our annual conference, which was the highest attended annual conference in TEDC history. But I think the bar chart really shows that we're steady runs the course right now. We're having 13, 14, 15 people show up each time, which is great, which is showing that, this program is not only alive and well, but sustaining. And then next slide, please. picture of some of our graduates and some pictures of celebrating their graduation. There, 3 of the folks shown here finished the flight program, applied for the board, and were elected to the board. And I might also add that of the 13 folks shown here, let's see, 8 current board members, 1 former board member, 1 woman who unfortunately left the state, will probably be her state association president someday, and certainly a couple of other folks that are rising leaders, not only in the TEDC, but in their communities and their economic development organizations as well. Next. And here's an example of the certificate of completion that the 13 flight program graduates received upon completion of their 6 course requirements. Next.
All right, Tom. Tom is going to close us out with some closing comments about the program.
First of all, I just want to say, I want to say thank you to each of the panelists and participants in the conference this morning. And thanks, Carlton, for giving the silent shout out to San Antonio, which is where the conference was. It was the highest attended this past year, so I got to blow my own horn here. And for the flight program and all the work that's gone on with that. FLT, Flight, Future Leaders Training, thus the wings, thus everything in the logo. It has been a good start to what I think was going to end up being a great program. I also want to thank each of you who are listening to this event. We appreciate the opportunity to be able to introduce you to the TEDC flight program because it is unique. And yet I think it's something that can be replicated by SEDC, by other state associations as a member benefit to your individual member organizations. Personally, I believe the program has been a success. It continues to evolve and is achieving our original goal, as Carlton just alluded to, of building a pipeline of TEDC leaders for the future. And that's what it's all about. Finally, if you want additional information, don't call me. No, I'm just kidding. Call any of us. But for additional information, contact Carlton or Amy on the program. This program has been successful because of the buy-in and commitment by TEDC staff. And they are the ones that are now making what was an idea in Karen's mind and the task force several years ago into reality today. So thank you for all you're doing. And thanks again to everyone who was with us this morning or this afternoon, whenever you're listening to this.
All right. Thank you all. Have a good day.